Has social media ruined kind of like our dating pool and what we see? I would totally agree. Welcome back to the Social Media Sobriety Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Bermundo, and today we're going to rock with a slightly different structure. Things will probably go back next week, but I've been a little bit under the weather, so I didn't really want to have anyone on this podcast. So instead of a guest, I am going to kind of be the guest, and ChatGPT is going to ask me some questions. This episode, all about relationships and how I am able to have a romantic relationship of over 2 years now without being on social media. Should be fun, should be a good one. And I actually also asked on the Instagram post on Social Media Sobriety if anyone would have any questions about dating without being on social media. And turns out I have no friends and nobody watched my podcast. So,
Boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
This is serious.
I know.
we turn to AI. That's what we're going with. Actually, the only person who answered was my girlfriend, so a couple of those are sprinkled in. A little bit of background. I have been going out with my girlfriend, Brenna Gross, for over 2 years. It was 2 years on February 6th, and I was pretty much off of everything the first year. The second year, I had a little bit of Instagram for my own posts, and then I had Twitter, but never really used it in that personal way that I saw. And although I didn't try to scroll, there were some things of other people that I saw, like their posts, like some of their like Happy Girlfriend's Day kind of posts and things like that. But I didn't really use it in the traditional way. And I'm kind of just here to talk about it. And then she, on the other hand, had Instagram, but that was about it. Neither of us have had Snapchat our entire time being together, nor did we have anything like Twitter besides my part, or TikTok, or anything like that. So it was strictly very little Instagram use, and I'm excited to talk about it. So we're going to start off with, did being off of social media make dating harder? And I'm going to tell you wholeheartedly, no, it made everything so much easier. The first part was that whole talking stage. And I know it's very common nowadays, talking stages, situationships, things like that. That kind of went away. And I think there's two reasons for it. I don't think social media was the only reason. I think her and I have just gotten along so well to the point where we never had the need to play games, but it just kind of worked out that way. So I found out that without social media, there wasn't this need to kind of wait on sending messages like on Snapchat. I remember that was a huge thing. Trying to snap someone, it's like, oh, they didn't respond to me for 3 hours. Well, I'm not going to respond for 3 hours. Like, that was all dumb. That was all bull crap, right? When it was just like this and we communicated over messages, we just kind of wanted to talk to each other. And it made things so much smoother. And then additionally, without Snapchat, I didn't really talk to anyone else during that time. Neither did she. It made things so much easier. And now, even if I were to hypothetically get Snapchat, I wouldn't use it to snap other girls. It just doesn't really make sense in my mind. Not saying like you can't be friends with girls when you're in a relationship or vice versa, but I just don't have the need to go out of my way to talk to other people. But, you know, if we're all friends, we're all hanging out and coordinating, that's fine. But the daily snap, never really understood that. So, yes, I do think it's a lot easier. And someone ever asked, like, why don't you post her? And it's actually very interesting because she was on Instagram and she posted things. And for a year and a half, I was never present on her Instagram feed. And she did that out of respect for me, about me not really wanting to have an online presence. And it was fine. Like, we never had that need to be public. And obviously, like, we're not going to not tell people, but needing to post it on social media, why does it matter? We want our relationship to be more private or within our own little community. And people that are in our communities that we talk to on a daily basis do see us together. And they see how well we fit. And we don't necessarily need to take that to an online stage. So in that case, I think it's just very nice to have. It allows you to connect with the person a lot better. And if you want, go make your little post and just send it to each other. Like I made her a National Girlfriend's Day post, and I didn't post it anywhere. I just designed it, gave it to her as like a small little gift, and moved on. So I really do like that aspect of things. And the last question before we kind of get into a more serious, or I guess more juicy topics. If you broke up, would you feel relief not having to announce it? And I think that is one of, and like we're not banking on this to happen. Like don't take this the wrong way, but if things did have to end, I would see it being so much easier to tell friends one-on-one, and there wouldn't be all that drama of just seeing someone get taken off of the Instagram post, and everyone's wondering what happened, right? Like if you have a friend and he has a girlfriend, and all of a sudden all of her presence on his social media is gone, like that's going to raise speculation. And then on social media, anytime you post something about your ex, it gets spread around a little bit, especially in like a Snapchat story. And if that's the case, then it makes things a lot messier. And in my head, if I wasn't on social media and I had to break up with someone, it would just be a lot smoother to where I can communicate with that person one-on-one. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. It is very hard to have a perfect breakup. I don't know that it really exists, but having that connection one-on-one without that external noise probably leaves the door open to be cordial with your ex at some point, if that's something you desire. And if not, it should be a pretty clean breakup. So yes, thank you, ChatGPT, for that one. Does social media create unrealistic relationship standards? I actually just took a class on this, and it's not just social media, but it's media in general. Imagine any TV show or movie or whatever you want to call it, songs even. They create such an unrealistic expectation of what a relationship actually should be. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. It's not seeing the super hot girl from across the room, finding the courage to ask her, get rejected, and then like do this whole massive movie of just trying to impress her, and you get the girl and blah, blah. That's not the reality. I think a lot of things like intimacy, that's not the reality. There's so many parts where we see things on media, and I don't think it's a social media problem. I think it's part of it, but just seeing these absolute unreal expectations, it doesn't make you want to work for the hard things in a relationship, about that communication, about making time for one another. When you see these, you expect a relationship to be easy, to be awesome. I'm not saying it can be. It definitely was the first couple months, but then reality hits and you both have lives and you're trying to make it through. So I think media does have a big part of it. As for social media itself, sometimes it's just trying to keep up with the status quo. And I don't feel like I have that, where I have this need to post my significant other. And I bet you there's some internal pressure too of, oh, hey, like you're not posting me enough. Why is that? Now we just kind of go on, live our lives and go together, because reality is I care so much more about what I do on a date than I do about posting what that date was like. So I do think social media can really have those unrealistic expectations. And I think it's a whole part of the relationship that you can kind of like throw away. That's a good thing, is maintaining that online presence. Here's a good one, and this is in reference to one of the shorts I had this week. Are we comparing our average Tuesday to someone else's anniversary post? That I can kind of agree with. And this goes back to the whole media side of things. I think relationships aren't super easy and aren't super amazing all the time. There's a lot of hardship, a lot of time, a lot of sacrifices you have to make to be in a romantic relationship. And like, I'm someone who just graduated college. My girlfriend, she's still in college. It's not easy. And if you're trying to compare your everyday with your significant other to someone's amazing romantic getaway, that puts a lot of pressure on the relationship. And this is kind of a tangent, but why then do we need to talk to other people of the opposite sex or gender, if that's what you're into? Why do we have to talk to them on a daily basis? Because then again, that's just another thing social media puts on you, is having that constant flow of communication with people that you may or may not find attractive even in a relationship. So yes, I think it's very interesting, right, to see the highlight reel of someone's relationship and then comparing that to your own. Like I wouldn't want that. And being off social media, I don't have that. I get to just work on my own relationship and improve it, as opposed to comparing it to others. And what I would also say on the topic is everyone's relationship is different. There is no perfect relationship. The most perfect one is the one you're striving to have. And what may work for some couples won't work for me. So having that expectation to be like one of those couples, I think it's a very hard way to live a relationship. Do I miss the attention of posting a relationship? And again, I never had a relationship while on social media. But I'm thinking about my graduation picture from high school. And I just remember looking at all the likes and the comments and refreshing every 10 minutes, thinking it was so, so cool. Why would I want that pressure on a relationship? Seriously. Just those thoughts of needing that validation from other people. The only validation you should need is probably from your significant other and possibly your family and friends, your close friends, but not the other people you see online. So no, I don't really miss it. I'm sure it's a nice feeling to see all the posts like, oh, hey, like y'all are so cute. Oh my gosh, you're my favorite couple, blah, blah, blah. All that, bullshit that we see on thing. I really think that sometimes posts on a couple's page or like a couple's post, the comments are like a LinkedIn comment section. LinkedIn comment sections are gold, absolute gold mine.
Sounds like a
Hoopla! Hoopla!
Oh, wow, so inspiring. I can't wait to see what it is. Oh my God. LinkedIn is one of the funniest social media apps to look at. Straight up. I think the comment sections that are hilarious, and I find that similarity on a couple's post of all this, just these sayings of like, wow, you guys are just the perfect couple, my faves, whatever. And I think it'd be kind of funny to be a part of, but I'm glad I'm not, personally. Do people stay in relationships longer because how it looks online? I actually would think it's the exact opposite. Is yes, there are these absolutely high expectations of being in a relationship online. And I think some couples may struggle to live up to those unrealistic expectations. And that's when they just pull the plug on the whole operation. I think if you don't have those expectations and you work with your other person, it makes things a lot more genuine, a lot more down to earth, and a lot more realistic. So yeah, I would think the opposite is true. I think seeing or being on social media with a relationship wouldn't force you to be in that relationship longer. I guess the only thing you can say, and this goes back to one of the points I made earlier, but the opposing part is, yeah, I think it would be harder to break up with someone when you have social media just because of all the reactions of people and what they say. And really, yeah, going back to that point, if I need to break up with someone, I would want as little people finding out, not from me. I know that's a crazy thing to say, because then that's where all the lies come in. So yes, I think having that presence makes it difficult. Oh, here's a good question. I asked ChatGPT to get a little spicy with these. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be canceled after this. Who knows? Do you think you are morally superior for not posting? No. I think it's a choice I made. And that's the thing with social media. I think there could be very successful people in any field who have social media and those who don't. I think it's all about your drive and how bad you want things And that includes jobs, that includes relationships. But it's not like, doesn't make one better than the other. That's a common misconception. Like, I don't know if I come across like that to some people, but it's just a personal choice I made. And if someone makes the personal choice to be on social media for hours, like, more power to them. If you can be on social media but have a purpose to do it, that's great. That's really, really great. And I think if you are just confident in who you are, that's where you could be morally superior. But not being confident or being an imposter or trying to fit in, that's where things struggle. And that's not just a relationship thing. I think that's a life thing. Okay, now we'll go with something interesting. So my girlfriend is currently in Seville, Spain on a study abroad program. So I have actually been long distance with her. So she fired off a couple questions on the Q&A that we'll kind of get to. But yeah, the first one is, in what ways do I stay connected with her without social media in a long distance relationship? And there's a couple ways. Number one, calls, and try to schedule calls. I think that makes things a lot easier. Is actually making time out of your day to call your other person, because you're busy. But if you put forth that effort, that shows dedication. And on the flip side, if you don't want to put in that effort, then maybe that's something you have to talk and figure out if that relationship is for you. The other way I stay in touch, she has a shared Google Photos album. That way I can kind of see what's going on without her need to post it. If she posts it, fine, like, more power. But that's how I can kind of visualize all the stories she tells me that she's doing. I think it makes it really, really great. And it's a good excuse to reach out. And that's where the social media part, posting things on Instagram, like, yeah, it is a great way to stay in touch with people. But if you go the extra step into doing it in a more private setting, I think it's even more special, because that person really wants to share it with you and not 1,000 other people. Do I feel more present on dates because of it? Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. And I'll take out the social media part now, but if you couldn't tell with this podcast, I am so anti-phone in public. It just gets me. Like, oh my God, seeing families with their phones out the entire time, out together. It's one of the saddest things I've come across. But on dates especially, we've done times where we put our phones away in the car. And I think it's a lot harder when you are on social media consistently to do that. But having those dates one-on-one without your damn phone is some of the best ways to connect with, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendly relationship. That stuff, it's nothing better. There's really nothing better. That one-on-one connection. And I'm personally a fan of not even going out to like a bar and hang out with people, but being in a much more intimate space, because it takes out the noise. And your phone is a lot of noise. Social media can be a lot of noise. So taking that factor out of it, it makes dates so much better. I encourage every single person in a relationship to do a no phone date. It is one of the best experiences you have to really enjoy your time with the person you love, or like, if you're not there yet. But it helps so much, especially if there's a date where you don't need to use it. I understand if you're, traveling and you want to be in touch with your parents, but if you're going out for dinner on a Thursday night, yeah, get rid of your phone for a minute. and you'll see how much it helps. Or maybe you'll find out, wow, this person's really weird. Like, I don't really know this person without their phone. I think just the connection's so much more pure. And it's really true, intimate connection without, the intimacy. Another question. What is my opinion on Happy National Girlfriend's Day posts, anniversary posts? Are they genuine, performative, yada, yada, yada? And this goes back to something I said earlier. I think it's also just more of a trend. And in a healthy relationship with people on social media, they'll do that regardless and not need a day. I think it's just a good excuse to post something. And I know that's not even just a girlfriend thing or boyfriend thing. There's a lot of trends out there for sure. I remember one of the last things I remember starting up when I was consistently on social media was all of the posts about, oh, like if you're a baseball player, like post this with your picture. Like, yeah, it's an excuse to just get that out there. Is it cool? Sure. If you enjoy it, go ahead. But I don't know. I think some are genuine, but other people, they just want to show off. And yeah, I mean, if you're in a relationship and your significant other is smoking hot or whatever the case is, like, yeah, show that off. Be proud of it. I'm very proud of mine, but you don't need to validate or be validated by other people. It should be all about you and your other person. And if your way of expressing that is on social media, go for it. Has being offline made me more confident in the relationship? Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently, the two barnacle-mouth brothers just learned a new word, and SpongeBob just said it.
Being offline, it just makes it so personal, so intimate. One of my favorite days, and I did this a little bit in the burnout episode, but it's about Shabbat and having that connection. But Shabbat, I don't use my phone on a Friday night, and neither does she. So every time we hang out on a Friday night, it's just us and our friends being there without that extra noise. It's beautiful. It's lovely. I wouldn't trade it for the world. That's probably one of the things I miss most about her being long distance is those Friday nights. Because I knew that at that time, we could just work on ourselves, our relationship with each other, our relationship with our friends. It's beautiful. And it kind of just sums up everything I've said about comparing yourself to other people, about seeing the unrealistic expectations online, and about having noise in that relationship, being off of everything. It makes your relationship with your other person the most important aspect and not any of the performative material you have online. What would it take for me to post again? It would take a lot. I don't really need to. My first thought would be like, engagement pictures, but then again, like why even have the need to share that? Why not just enjoy the process happening? And no, I'm not proposing anytime soon, but like it's a cool event and I think it'd be nice to share, but at the same time, if I was going to share it with someone, it would probably be in a book or on the shelf of my house. So that way the people that really matter will see it, but I don't know if you need to post that. Like that's probably my first instinct, but it's not needed. If she wants to post it, sure, but I really don't need to. I don't mind not having that. Piece of advice for couples that are constantly posting. My advice is just know why. Why are you posting? Because if you're posting for other people, that's wrong. If you're posting for your significant other, sure. But let's take it this way. I would post things if you want to do that, post things that you would want your family to see. Or post things that would make your significant other happy. And if people like and comment, great. But it's got to be for that foundation of the relationship. Other than that, you don't need to. And I think, again, if you're posting for other reasons, then that's a conversation you'd have with your other person. So that's all the questions I got. Kind of just sum everything up. I find that the talking stage, it's a lot of bull. Without social media, it helps. In a way, too, I find talking to women now, and this could be because I'm in a relationship, but it probably helps that I'm not on social media. Just having acquaintances or friends that are girls is not that complicated anymore, because I don't see all of the noise that's going on out there, and it just feels I can treat them like any other person. Additionally, there are so many unrealistic beauty standards that we have. And this is the last point I want to get to is, has social media ruined kind of like our dating pool and what we see? I would totally agree. And this goes back to the highlight reel aspect. Some people are going to look fantastic on social media in a very unrealistic way. So if we're watching influencers, if we're looking at people with filters, beauty filters, our concept of someone we would be attracted to, it totally gets skewed. Like, think about it this way. If you see a girl on TikTok that you think is gorgeous, it makes your scale totally offset in real life. Like, a TikTok 7 could be a 10 in real life. But when you're constantly scrolling and seeing, beautiful women, if you're a straight guy, it skews your perspective. Whereas if you're not on it, you just get to focus on one. The other part's about looks, because looks are really not everything. But two, you're not seeing what's actually going on, which is totally unrealistic. And that's where I think social media in a lot of early stages of a relationship, or maybe a relationship becoming, really makes it tough, is everything just seems so skewed and it's just not real. That's kind of all I got for this episode. Thank you for listening. It's been a very, very fun time. And next week we should have a guest on, but I thought it was a pretty good episode to really understand what it's like a little bit, stepping in the shoes of someone that really doesn't believe in social media. And I've never been in a relationship actually before this. So this is the only thing I have to go off of, but it's been very nice. I think it makes things a lot easier. And I really find, like, hearing the things that other people say about their relationships, a lot of stuff doesn't apply to me that's negative, because it's things I don't think about on the daily basis. And it's very, very nice to have a relationship for you and your partner. And that's the most important thing. See you next week.